everybody. So today we're going to make a mod for KSA, Kitten Space Agency. So let's just jump straight into here and make things a little bigger for you. I have a skeleton project I just copy and paste for new mods. We'll give it a perfect name. Trying not to have any sort of copyright infringement so we don't get sued or anything by previous games. So do some quick search replacing here, get everything situated, and yep, multi-module dotnet project. Yep. So I'm speeding up time here just in the interest of compressing 4 hours of coding down into a video, hopefully with some interesting stuff. We're just going to enable the mod in the KSA manifest here. Yep, perfect. Turn off some of my other mods so they don't get in the way. And let's run our first test. So you use StarMap as a mod loader for KSA. So what it does is you compile against its libraries and then to create your mod. And it looks like it's working. Yep, we can see that our mod ran. There was a button with the IM GUI widgets, and then we saw on the console there that there was output. So we're just going to commit our initial stuff here. But yeah, so the mods, you just create .NET projects, you compile your assemblies against the StarMap libraries, and then you run KSA using StarMap, and magic happens, and it runs your code, and you get a mod. So what I have here is I have a bunch of mods. So I've already put together some sort of decompiled source code for AI coding assistants to look at, and I already have some AI skills that help out with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight in here, and we're going to ask AI, tell it we want to create a mod called Garrys Torch, right? Which is a play on Garrys Mod from Half-Life 2. If you've never played that, it's a mod that lets you sort of move parts around and weld them together and resize them and rotate them and all that kind of stuff. And I had hopefully a stroke of brilliance thinking that would be perfect for KSA. So we're just going to tell AI in pretty good detail what we want to do here. And where are we here? Timing-wise. Yeah, so, and I'm going to give it some hints on some interesting parts of the decompiled assemblies to look at to get off the bat here, right? Primarily the vehicle class, and then hopefully the AI coding agents will use that and my existing sort of skills that I wrote up for on how to look for useful information in that decompiled sources and do something useful. So let's see here. I do happen to know, right, that there's a set orbit debug helper that is built into the game, and that probably has ways to change teleport the objects, right? Because if we want to weld two objects together, we're going to basically start ignoring physics for one of them, which means we have to start moving them on every game loop. And since that debug orbit already has the ability to move stuff, we figure that's probably a good place to tell the AI coding tool, whoa, what is that? Why does that say XKCD with a funny color name? KSA color XKCD. That's pretty awesome. Why? What is going on with this XKD? Yeah, do they have their own color chart? I don't think I've ever seen a color chart on XKCD before. Oh, yep, apparently we do. Do these line up? Let's grab like one of these names. Yeah, okay. That's pretty awesome. I gotta ask so one of the best parts about Rockworks is developers are pretty interactive on the Discord channel. So we can just go straight and I presume at some point somebody will get back to me and oh yep, okay, so it was JPL Repo. He's the guy that apparently likes XKCD too. Anyways, back to the coding, right? So we're going to give the initial prompt a pretty good set of instructions, give it some hints on where to look in sort of the decompiled source code for relevant information. And initially, I'm not going to have it try and do a one-shot vibe coding. I'm going to ask it to make an implementation plan after it does some deep analysis of the decompiled sources. So that's going to run for a little bit, and time at 4:53. You have to bear with me. I sort of have notes here, and I'm going to try and talk through this audio overlay Um, yep, so what's going on? While this is coding, I've sped this up to 10 times speed. You can see that in the upper left corner. I have the current speed of the video at any given time. But while this was going, I was kind of keeping tabs on what it was doing. Everything seemed pretty good. It did really good deep analysis on the decompiled stuff and figured out how things worked. Interestingly, I saw something saying it was using the Copilot memory feature, which I hadn't gotten to work yet, so I went to check the repo, and it in fact did not work still. So still got to figure out how that works. Okay, here we go. It created a plan. It created it with 6 tasks, and I checked those out, and they looked pretty sensible. So we're going to tell it now to use subagents to actually go and do the coding. And what I like to do is I tell it to ask me if it has any questions, and then use git commit skills to create a clean commit after each independent task is complete. So it acts as a really sort of good undo buffer, so that if one coding task goes awry or whatever, we don't lose it all and cry ourselves to sleep, right? So that works pretty well in my opinion. And while this is going, I was monitoring it, right, and I start taking notes on things it did that I didn't really care for, so and things that I didn't think of, right. So I start to track down things that we're going to make changes to afterwards. But we let it sort of hum right along. So far, so good. Keep an eye on the stuff it did. I sort of peeked at the old source code. Everything seemed pretty sensible. It's pretty good overall with C# stuff. It does it all on its own, make sure it compiles. And let's do our first test of our mod already. That's pretty fast. So how did I do this? Looks like the current vehicle is going to be welded to what your target is. What should we pick? What should we pick? Banjo. Okay. And nothing happened. Interesting. Okay. Now, I don't see Banjo anywhere. Oh, did you notice that? Look at that, the rocket stops moving. So something is happening. I'll bet the distance is maintained with Banjo wherever he is. That's interesting. All right, so let's jump out and just see if we can get AI to make a tweak there, because I bet that's probably what the problem is. And we'll just, since I already had one note on reorganizing, I want to support multiple sort of welds. We'll call them welds instead of just a single one. That way we can hopefully layer them and just have a whole bunch at the same time acting simultaneously, right? So we'll also tell it to set up a distance slider or input. That way we can adjust that. So let's kick off AI again. And what are we telling it to do here? And I also like to sort of, with this game mod stuff, I like to give it sort of a overarching goal of what I want it to behave like in the end, so that when it needs to take sort of liberties on decisions, it sort of thinks about the way that a end user is going to use the game, right? So that also, I feel like, tends to work pretty well. So, and keep in mind, so this is, I don't want to call it vibe coded because it sort of is, but I put a lot of pre-work into sort of the skills and the analysis ahead of time. So I'm sort of asking the right questions with the right terminology to get pretty good results, right? But yeah, so we're going to let this run here, speed things up to 10 times, so you don't have to wait the couple minutes that this actually runs for. But while we're waiting for that, just mention that this video, pretty much 99% of the code is all AI generated, and most of it worked on the first try. So like I said, if you do the pre-work and set up skills and sort of have all your notes ready to go, it does a pretty good job. All right, so the first reworking here is going. We're going to weld together some kittens. Okay, yep, this is going to go great. So, yeah. This is exactly what I want to have happen. This is perfect. So, yep, I think Banjo and Hunter are going to get pretty cozy. Let's go put them over by Luna. And then the AI thing had mentioned that if you break SOIs, it could mess up with it. It looks like it did. So we're gonna send everybody over to Luna. We're gonna now. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna weld Hunter back to Banjo. Ooh, that is yeah, that's quite a view Hunter's got there. This is like back in space camp days. Maybe I don't know. Oh yeah, and I think there might be a bug with KSA. Sometimes when you go back to map mode, it does weird things. Like I went to map mode when I was on Banjo here, and it showed Rocket on Earth, which is not correct. Yeah. All right. So what do we? I think yeah, this is working as you would hope. So yeah, Hunter is welded onto Banjo, and when Banjo, let's bring players into here too. Oh, that's yeah. So the rotation's clearly all messed up. It must. Similar to the original distance problem, right? The rotations probably also walked to whatever the relative rotation was between the source and the target, would be my guess. Because I don't, it wouldn't be anything else because I didn't tell it to code anything else. But, that's promising. So yeah, let's just play around a little bit with what goes on here. Yeah, so everything is, the rotation is staying relative to the target. That's perfect. So what happens if we bring the rocket in here? Wait, we gotta move the rocket to Luna and then do it. Okay, perfect. The distance is messed up. And no, let's. Oh, because they're locked, we can't change the angle. Yeah, let's unweld it, right? And then let's go prograde. All right. So then we're gonna re-over that. Perfect. This guy's gonna get roasted. It's like Firefly style right here. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, or Expanse or one of those other ones I asked in the chat. Reminders with sci-fi shows that they use the exhaust to kill something. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Okay. And yeah, so quick little real world intermission. I had to kill my coding session and do some real life stuff and come back and resume. So got to remember where we were, just double check everything's saved and everything was committed. What was the last thing I was doing there? So yeah, we basically just got the mod in a preliminary working state. But so yeah, now we want to switch over to multiple welds, put them behind collapsible sort of sections. And actually, we already had that, so I was attacking that. What was I doing here? Oh yeah, sorry. I wanted to sort of remember how the rotation stuff was working before I asked instructed AI to make those changes. So yeah, it was just that the rotation seems to be locked to the same relative rotation as when you welded it. So what we're going to do is ask AI to go and add some controls that allow us to manipulate the rotation. Right. Okay. So we're going to do that. Ask it, type some stuff, and again, I'm gonna give it a description of sort of the way I plan to interact with it, or how I'd like to interact with it as a user of the game, and hopefully that'll give it some decent direction when it has to make sort of choices about implementing UI widgets and layouts and that kind of thing. All right, so fire that off, and while that's going, I know IMGUI has what does it want to do? It went off on a tangent. It started trying to figure out how to instantiate a double quaternion object, and it didn't know how to do it, and it was going to search using some crazy commands. I'll just figure it out myself. So I just did some quick rip greps and found out it's a simple new operator on that. So we'll just send AI back on its merry way after figuring that out on our own. All right, yeah, so IMGUI has this really cool, or somebody hosts a really cool like WebAssembly version of it, I think, that runs in the browser. So you can do the IMGUI full demo test suite in the browser. You don't have to download it and run the actual native applications, which is pretty neat. So yeah, so while this is coding, I'm improving my IMGUI Copilot skill with some information about the drag sliders for the float values, right? So we know there's different ways that they can behave, which is where you can have a slider only, or a numerical input only, or a combined one where you can slide or double click and change values. I want the latter, right, which is convenient because you can do both modes and that'll be really useful for our mod the way it's supposed to work. All right, good. So we finished that coding. So theoretically, let's see if rotation's going to work. So we're going to get Hunter nice and cozy again with our good friend Banjo. Is that who we welded it to? Yeah, Hunter's welded Banjo, correct. Yep. And there's clipping because there is no collisions. Plus, even if there was collisions, I think we would have just overridden that anyways. Yep. Nice and cozy, just like Space Camp. Okay. Rotation works. How about that? It was kind of janky when I was moving it out there. That's why. Okay. Yeah, so I want to be focused camera on Banjo since he's the regular body and Hunter is the welded source. So we're manipulating Hunter's sort of rotation and position. That's pretty cool. Distance is locked to one axis right now, so we'll get to that later. But yeah, all right. So what's next? Yeah, so there's multiple sort of input slider types, right? So you can have a single, double, triple, and quadruple. Since we're dealing with things that sort of have 3 dimensions in each, I wanted to get the skill updated so that I could, for future sort of prompts, just have AI sort of understand what I want to do. Yep. So next up, we're going to jump in here and we're just going to, what are we doing? Yeah, we want to mess with the slider sensitivity because it was acting a little funny. And then I also want to make sure that the double click for manual entry was working because that wasn't working. Not sure what that was about. So we ask AI to check it out. I think it discovered that we're actually passing some of the wrong values to the drag float 3 object. So let's see here. So sliding is working. Got a little bit of wearing an Edgar suit type situation going on there when the distance goes down to 0. Yeah, that's fun. Okay. It's a little Men in Black reference for you. Good to go. So far so good. But yeah, I iterate about a bunch of times here. It's kind of like Groundhog Day where I want to mess with the sensitivity of the sliders so that you can get a nice smooth motion. So something that's while this is in sort of high speed, nothing really terribly interesting is going on. I'll slow down the video speed once we get there. We go. Okay, back to near real time. So that probably means I got to sort it out. Let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, that's nice and smooth. Yeah, and got some more Edgar suit. Yeah, okay, nice. Good. Okay, rotation. Yeah, that's good. Multiple axes, but still stuck on the one axis for position. And oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's real nice. Okay. All right. So what are we gonna do next? My notes are my little side scrolling notes here, but I'm way out of sync. We're just going to go with it. So, yeah, testing that slider again. Okay, yeah, so I think I was still messing around with the sensitivities here. But yeah, okay, we're going to jump to the multiple axes for the position now. After we saved off our currently working stuff. And that's fired off. So while that's going, I was just sort of perusing the IMGUI demo to see if there's any more useful widgets, because eventually we're going to want a combo box with the source and targets. But okay, so this says it finished. Do some high-speed tests. All right, yeah, hey, look, position's working. Cool. And let's let that run for a second here. I think still in high speed, so I didn't want to really show it off quite yet. Let that finish up. So what was I doing? Yeah, I was trying to grab the combo box to update my skill, but then I realized that I already had combo box stuff in the skill, so it was wasted effort. But still fun. I always enjoy browsing the IMGUI demo. Okay, here we go. What speed? So yep, we now have source and targets for combo boxes. Perfect. Good. And it's kind of annoying that I haven't fixed the default position yet. It always defaults to the distance between the source and target when you push weld. So you gotta manually fix it. And I think I don't fix it for a while. So it continues to annoy me for a little bit here. And we got Polaris this time. Let's see. What do we got going on, Polaris? Yeah, okay. We're bringing everybody into the fold here. Fix this position. Yep. Oh, hey, this is a nice little arrangement. Oh, yeah, I remember what happens. This is, let's get them all, yep, get them all lined up, and then adjust the rotational. Okay, yep, okay, yeah, oh, no. Sometimes you get carried away, and then you get a Kittenpede. Yeah, there you go. It's pretty cool, though. It's a lot of fun to play with this stuff and how quickly you can mess with it. And then I let all my sort of 90s and 2000 pop culture references take over my train of thought instead of doing space things. I'm just doing stupid things, but it makes me laugh. All right. So that's pretty good. And also, I just took a nice screenshot of my Kittenpede. Probably share that on the Discord at some point. And all right. So now, what do we want to do? Okay, so that feature's all done. The next up is what else could we want to do with sort of Garrys Mod, or Garrys Torch, sorry, is scale the parts, right? So what I did here is I asked AI to do an analysis of how the parts will scale, because I know that parts can scale but not vehicles, and it came back and told me that it thinks that it can't do it except for parts, and that it thinks KSA would break at runtime. And I told it, I don't believe you, because I know that KSA primarily works sort of real time on every game tick or every frame update, and sort of uses the live data to recalculate everything. So I basically told it, shut up and just do it anyways. And I told it to recursively scale all the parts, which let's find out what happens. Should only take a minute here before we, and then I started getting sidetracked and uninstalling VS Code plugins, and then I saw this little timeline thing that I've never seen before, which I think that must be new because it sort of has some, whatever. So, okay, do a quick review. It did something for our scaling for our initial attempt here. So let's do a build, fire up KSA, save off my screenshot. Okay, and here we go. And nope, scaling's not doing anything. All right. So, what about with the rockets? Because I know kittens are sort of special, so let's test it out with the Oh, it does something. That's pretty cool, actually. Not exactly what I would have thought initially, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's scaling around the origin of each, around center mass origin, but it looks like the origin or the center of each part. And yeah, that's exactly what I told it to, because I didn't tell it to do anything else. And yeah, I don't think it could possibly, because we're not scaling the vehicle, we're scaling each part recursively. So that's pretty awesome, actually. I like that. I think Daishi would be proud. Now we can look at all the parts and their intricate glory on the ends and things. All that artwork he does that it's hidden away when they're connected, but now you can see it. So maybe I'll fly all my rockets with them slightly explode in the future, just to show off the parts. All right, next up, what I kind of missed what it was doing there, but so the kittens weren't scaling, right? So I wanted to go and sort of find, I know there's some kitten EVA classes, so I wanted to find that information, wanted to feed that into AI so that it could start spelunking in the code in the right place to try and figure out what we might have to do to scale kittens, right? So actually, we end up retrying a bunch of times here in the next couple minutes. And then we'll see what happens. So, yep, let's get these ready to go. Try this again. I still got to fix that origin. Got to fix it every time. And nothing. No scaling. Okay. And so now the AI has been adding some logs, right? So what we're going to do is start feeding the logs back in and telling it what happened. Let it give it another shot. And I just had like a bright idea where I wanted to go make a big plans meme. Let's see. Okay. While it was coding, yeah, still haven't fixed the default position. Nope, scaling, still not doing anything. Let's grab the latest logs. Tell it again. Keep working on our meme in the meantime here. Nope. AI's already done. Sometimes AI stuff's pretty quick too. It's surprisingly efficient if you give it good instructions. And still nothing. All right. Come on. What's next? More logs. More attempts. Come on. Come on. Test again. Oh, 1 time speed. This might be, oh, shit. We got Big Hunter. That's pretty awesome. Okay, the scale appears to be a little bit messed up. Like 0.1 is big, 0.2 is big. Okay, all right, so it's off by a factor of 100. That makes sense. So it's 0.01's 1 to 1. There we go. 30%. That's oh yeah, okay. Play a little hide the hunter. Okay. Good. And I love telling AI things are working. Not that it helps it do any better coding, but yeah. So let's just let it know the scaling factor is off. Things are working. Of course, we committed off the code so we don't lose it since it's actually working. Still haven't fixed that default position. Whatever we did there, yeah, I wanted to change the min-max on the slider so that the sort of speed sensitivity would be in a better range so that when you slide it, it didn't like make him too big too fast. All right, so another test. Oh, also I had it fix the origin, by the way. I don't know if you noticed. We defaulted to 0 finally. So slider for positions are working. Yep, good. We got players here. And oh, hey, we got a little hunter. Nice. That's real nice. Okay. So let's do a little bit of cleanup. Things are working. Now let's go for, is this going to be our final test? No, a little bit more cleanup. My slider sensitivities need a little tweaking. Still not totally happy with it, I think. Oh no, I am. Okay. And then let's do some more pop culture reference. Oh no. What's happening? Oh no. No. Oh yeah, we just recreated the scene from Alien. Okay, I couldn't resist. Sorry. All right. So yeah, we got fully working scaling for both kittens and for individual parts recursively in a crazy sort of exploded inner diagram way. And let's just sort of have fun with it for a second here. Tweak our sensitivity sliders. Yeah, and we got some more Edgar suit. Yeah, rotation's all good. Sensitivity of the sliders, that's much better than before. Oh, that's good, cool. Move these things around, perfect. I think that's, if I recall, I think that was about it for this part of the mod. Yep, and then, had the real world called again. So I picked this up later on in the afternoon, and we've got one more big important feature here that we want to bring on board here. So what was that? That was all right. This is sort of the cherry on top. So I didn't know the right thing to call it, so this is Googling random terms like inblock, but I don't think that's right. So rather than try and tell it something that was wrong, I just straight up tell the coding assistant here that I want to unlock the rotations so that we can have position locked, but we can have rotations be free. And I wasn't really sure sort of what to describe that as, so I just straight up told it I didn't want to tell it that, but just describe in detail that I just want sort of free range rotation while maintaining a position lock and call that sort of rotation lock, right? So let's see, it already finished coding it for me. Great. Let's get some kittens lined up here to test it out. Good, and my camera got all foobar. That's fun. Okay, here, I think I'm about to actually push the button. Yeah, so you can see locked on. All right, and there we go. It works. First try. That is pretty awesome. Yeah, okay, switch to Polaris's perspective. Cool. Yeah, changed. Wow, this works better than I had ever hoped it would. This was way too easy. I love modding KSA because this was so easy and the results are so awesome. Okay, so we relocked it, snapped him back, killed his rotation. We'll bring in Banjo here, get the band together. It's a little cozy, like when they had those cold nights at space camp. And all right, let's see here. Out in the desert, yeah, gotta keep warm. All right, so we're gonna unlock Hunter, introduce some spins. Same thing with Banjo, and then take a look. Yeah, that's awesome. Ooh, this is awesome. I love this. I just gotta thank the Rocket Works guys because look how pretty this is. This is just it's just too awesome. And yep, that's it for now for Garrys Torch. So at some point, I plan to tidy this up and actually release the mod, make it available to people. So I hope you guys had fun. If you actually watched this whole thing, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and yeah, let me shut her down, BB. Still shut down. Sorry, I timed that wrong a little bit. Okay, there we go. The end. Bye.